Hi guys, how's everyone doing today? It is Saturday when I am recording this. I have a lot of material. I've been doing a lot of research. My notebook here is just about full, and I've got content lined up for a while. So there is going to be, I believe it's on, I'm trying to think, hold on a minute. Allie, do you know what station that Golden State Killer thing is coming on that's on Headline News or something?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't get cable.
All right. It's, what's today, the 16th?
Yeah.
16th.
Yeah, I believe it's coming on the 17th. So I just wanted to go over the Golden State Killer before that. And then maybe we can all tune into that and then discuss what was in there. So that, I think, it's definitely something I'm going to discuss. I'm going to give you some Kelsey Berreth updates, Kelsey Berreth case updates. And then I've got a whole bunch of stuff coming with, I've got that stuff on that Greenwich Suitcase murder. I have also, what else do I have here? I'm still looking for updates on that nurse. They must have postponed her court date or something. The one in Missouri with the antifreeze and the McDonald's. You remember that one? Take the Xbox. Okay. So I'm still looking at that, and I have a bunch of, first, people have been asking me for Scott Peterson, so I'm going to do Scott Peterson, just a recap for anybody that's not familiar with the case. And then I'm going to do a bunch of different comparisons between him and Watts, his parents and Watts, stuff like that in the upcoming future. Okay? And then what else did I have? I had... But I think we're going to do Garden State Killer right now. Joseph D'Angelo, and it's hysterical, Joseph D'Angelo, because I have the nicest, he's a physician, Joseph D'Angelo is a neighbor. Nicest guy in the world, and Joseph D'Angelo here, we've got, is our, did I say Garden State Killer? Did I say? Is that what he is? The Garden State? Is he the Garden State Killer?
Yes.
No, he's not. The Garden State is New Jersey.
Garden State, New Jersey.
Yeah, I know. That's what I just said. And she's like, oh, yeah, you did. Yeah. If I said Garden State, Golden, now I'm probably going to say it all the time, the Garden State Killer, and people are going to be like freaking out. There's a Garden State Killer. Okay, so the Golden State Killer. I hope I said that right in the beginning. People get mad when I try to dub it in there because the voice is shocking to them and scares them. So, Golden State Killer. So, let's see. Joseph D'Angelo. This is going to be a big information dump of the whole case. And then as things, since this is a current case, and he was just arrested in April of 2018, because I know there'll be somebody like, why aren't you doing a current case? Okay, this is a current case, but we'll always go back and look at other cases because you can learn from them. And we will compare and contrast with current cases. So that's why, somebody might say, well, why are you doing the Lacey Peterson case? It's, first of all, he's trying to get an appeal. That's one reason right there. But the other reason is just to compare and contrast. Now, I did post a very short video, very, very short, just of the footage with some, I transcribed whatever was being said in case anybody couldn't hear it, of Chris Watts actually being arrested and led off to jail. There is another video, I don't know if you guys have seen it, where it takes him from in that car right to where he's booked. It doesn't show everything. It shows him sitting on the bench. It shows them coming over. He's got to take his flip-flops off. Flip-flops in jail, right? Probably thinking, I wish I wore some more sensible shoes, but they're going to take him off anyway. He's going to lose everything. It's going to go in a bag for Ronnie Watts. But yeah, I mean, this whole thing is just so crazy. All right, let's go on with this. So Joseph DeAngelo, you know, he spent his 30s in a frenzied state of non-stop sadistical violence. He broke into a house every few weeks or so in the late 70s up until 1986, when he went into basic killer retirement or serial killer retirement. Yeah, he didn't, unlike BTK, he didn't have anything else lined up, and he stayed low from 1986 on, and nothing else. So he was in a serial killer retirement. They found him because his DNA matched, and they apprehended him in April. At that time, he was 72 years old. He was a portly grandfather type. He did tell agents that I have a roast in the oven, and the agents said, we'll take care of the roast, and I'm sure they did. Hopefully he was a good cook. Probably was. Okay. Like I said before, Tilly from that Dannemora, she got arrested right after she put a chicken in the oven. So I think if you're a fugitive or you're running from the law, you should take special care as soon as you're putting something in the oven, because, I don't know. And then, I don't know, it must just be me. I'm just thinking, like, they're wondering, like, did that chicken come out? Was it juicy? Like, is Tilly wondering that? Like, how was the chicken? Was it juicy? I don't know. All right, let's go to... So he had this complete double life because he was a Vietnam veteran. And so not only was he a Vietnam War veteran, he was written about in the paper as a 27-year-old. I'm going to read you it. I'm going to show you the article, but I'm also going to read it to you. A hero, okay? So he was in the Navy as a Navy veteran, served during the Vietnam War, and then began service as a policeman. And there's this article in the paper with this picture, and I'll have it here, and I'm going to just read it to you. Navy veteran serves Exeter as policeman. James DeAngelo Jr. believes that without law and order, there can be no government. And without a democratic government, there can be no freedom. Law enforcement is his career, he says, and his job is serving the community. DeAngelo, 27, is a native of Bath, New York. So he hails from upstate New York. He graduated from Folsom Senior High School in June of 1964 and joined the Navy the following September. He served 22 months in combat in Vietnam at the 17th to 18th parallels. He was an honor graduate at Sierra College, receiving his Associates of Arts degree in police science. In 1970, he attended the California State University at Sacramento. He received his bachelor's degree in criminal justice, specializing in criminal law. He did postgraduate work and completed his internship at Roseville Patrol Identification and Investigations Division under Chief of Police Hall. DeAngelo has served as an officer in the Exeter Police Department since May 18th of this year. Okay, Navy picture of him. So Joseph J. DeAngelo, Luke, please stop. Joseph J. DeAngelo, damage controlman, second class, serving aboard the USS Canberra, is expected to dock at San Diego today following service on the gun line off North Vietnam. The son of Mr. and Mrs. Jack Bosenko of Route 3, Box 3085, Auburn. The 21-year-old sailor is expected home on leave soon. The Canberra is returning via Formosa and Australia. Okay, so he was a glowing veteran, and now he joined the Exeter Police Force. So, I mean, things looked pretty good, right? He looked like a really upstanding citizen and a war hero and all of that good stuff. But he had a double life, okay? He had a total double life. And he had that double life for years. During the day, he'd be this policeman patrolling. And then in the evening, he was this horrific first rapist and then murderer. So let's take a look at his double life. Now, he joined the Exeter Police Force in 1973 after obtaining that criminal justice degree from California State University. In November of 1973, he married Sharon Marie Huddle, and the couple raised 3 daughters before separating. The family lived in Exeter, and the nearby town called Visalia was then starting to experience a rash of really strange burglaries. Okay? And there was one, and still is, one unsolved death in that town. 1974 to 1976, there was a man they dubbed as the Visalia Ransacker, and he invaded 85 homes and may have killed a college professor. So this intruder made a habit of taking tokens, things, incidental things like jewelry, little things. And he also, if somebody else was in the house when he was doing something to the women, he would tie up the husbands or other family members. He put dishes on them so that if they made a sudden move, the dish would go crashing to the ground, and they were called his noise alarms. And those were his trademarks, and he kept doing the same things. But these break-ins served as a warm-up. These were just a warm-up for the crimes that he was going to escalate to, okay? He was going to become not just a rapist, he was going to become a murderer. Now, no suspicion at all fell on D'Angelo while he was living in Exeter. Not at all, because during the day he was patrolling the town. So he patrolled Exeter until 1976, and when he moved north to take a job with the Auburn Police Department. And that was 35 miles outside Sacramento. That summer is when he started to rape women, okay, in their homes in that suburb. 1979, Sacramento County residents lived in dread of a man now called the East Area Rapist. So they changed his name again, and now they don't have them connected. So this is someone new, they think, and they've changed his name to the East Area Rapist. And I will tell you that Kathleen McNamara, is that who wrote that book, Kathleen McNamara? Is that her name? Well, I need to know so.
Michelle McNamara.
Oh, okay. The author of that book that we're going to read in the book club, Michelle McNamara, that I think was one of her husband had said, she thinks there wasn't as much notoriety with finding him because they didn't give him a good name. Okay. The Visalia Ransacker, and then the East Area Rapist, and so she is the one that came up with the Golden State Killer because his crimes went throughout the Golden State. And when he got that, I don't know, it's just, she just thinks that's one of the things that the name didn't catch on. And could it be something as simple as that? I don't know. But anyway, so the Sacramento residents are now in a time of dread, and they're fearing this East Area Rapist. Among the victims that he took is a 13-year-old girl. Now he moved on to the women being assaulted. Even if there were others in the home, then he would tie them up, and he would do this within blocks of each other. So he would commit one, and then a block over he'd commit another one, and a block over he'd commit another one. He terrorized entire neighborhoods week after week after week, and they still couldn't get him because he would just come in the night and he'd be gone. Meticulous, and he was violent. A lot of casing of a house before he did anything. He would check it out. He would sometimes leave tools there. He would disable lights. He would disable locks. He would not just, he put a lot of time into picking the homes that he went into, and he would even go ahead and leave things so that he could, have an easier time of doing what he wanted to do and hiding it. If he was ever caught in the act, he was very prolific at jumping from roofs, or vaulting over fences. During the day, he maintained his patrols. I mean, no one suspected him at all. Around Auburn, the Auburn Journal reported how D'Angelo caught a teen attempting to TP a police car, and also how another article in the newspaper about him was how a resident was very, very upset when he had her car towed. In 1979, D'Angelo supposedly made the front page. July 21st, he attempted to steal a hammer and a can of dog repellent from a pay and save, and was caught by an employee who found these things in his pants. So she stopped him. He was found tied to a chair when she called the sheriff's department and they arrived. They said he was in a really highly emotional state when they came in. So he's sitting in this chair, he's really emotional, and he's got a can, he was caught with a can of dog repellent and a hammer in his pants. He was subsequently fired from the police force that August, and was 2 months later was found guilty of shoplifting and was given probation. So that's the end of his law career, okay? The dog repellent and the hammer ended the law career. And he when his law career ended, there was a radical shift in the habits of the East Area rapist, okay? So he reappeared in Southern California, and now we've got a name of the original Night Stalker, because he left the victims alive at that point. The Golden State Killer evolved because now he was no longer leaving victims alive. So, got all these names for this one person. 1979 to 1981, it's kind of unclear where he lived. But that is when the Golden State Killer committed most of his 12 homicides. Still raping them now, but now either shooting or beating them to death before leaving. And he killed husbands too if they were there. His final killing happened after 5 years, okay? And then that was his final killing, and he went into hiatus. It was an 18-year-old woman that he raped and bludgeoned in Irvine near LA, and then the GSK was gone. Gone. Golden State Killer is gone, okay? He spent from that time of the last killing until his arrest in that city, surrounded by the same communities that the East Area rapists terrorized. So he took a warehouse job at a Save Mart, late 80s, and he worked there for 27 years. He was a mechanic, store spokeswoman said. Nothing suspicious about him, no tie to any crimes. His co-worker, Jason Calhoun, worked together with him since 1989 and called him just a regular Joe, even though he never smiled. He retired last year, which would have been in 2017, and he was in his early 70s. He was 72 at the time he was captured. He was looking forward to retirement for a long time, and his Citrus Heights neighbors said that he planned to do a lot of fishing in his retirement. His wife was not living with him in the later years. They were divorced, though technically still married, though estranged. They kept up a family life. Oh, that's a baggage. His brother-in-law said he was a good father. Daughter and granddaughter were living with him up to his arrest. He had a meticulous lawn, a meticulous house. It was constantly kept up, painted. You know, he was really very OCD about it, but he had a really bad temper. That's how his neighbors described him. He would go nuts trimming the grass around rocks. He'd get right down on it. He had markings on the driveway so that he pulled his boat in the correct way and it was exactly right. That is what probably helped him from getting caught, because he prepared, like I said, he would case the house, he would disable things. He'd have tools there. He'd have an escape plan. He had everything. And that's probably why he went for so long without being caught. So that temper was in real contrast, to his tidy house, because he was proven to fits of rage. And people would describe him, his neighbors, as just having anger pouring out of him. Occasionally, he disturbed others with these outbursts, okay? And one time, he called someone, and one of his neighbors, and said that if their dog didn't stop barking, he was going to deliver a load of death to it. Okay, that's a good neighbor. And then there's another neighbor that said, he got a little more mellow. His portly grandpa got a little more mellow in his older years, and he actually helped her. They had a fence between them. He helped pay for the installation of the fence, and anytime she heard him cursing, he did apologize for that. So, Another neighbor says he heard some kind of a commotion. He opened his garage door, and he saw D'Angelo mounting a bike and trying to flee, and he stared him down. This is another thing. He would ride a bike many times, and he would ride a bike. You're not going to be hurt on a bike as if you're in a car or something. He would ride a bike. So he was a prolific bike rider. But he would have temper tantrums because he couldn't find his keys or something. That was all observed. It's over silly things. They would say, some neighbors described him as outside in the back, just really, really upset about who knows what, pacing and walking in circles. The day that he was arrested, he was working in his garage. He was building a table, and he didn't even know that he had been, under surveillance, but he had been under surveillance because of a DNA sample they were able to get from him that connected him to the rape and murders. Deputies told him he was being charged with multiple murders, and he said, "I have a roast in the oven," and they said, "We'll take care of it." He has a public defender because he doesn't have enough money for legal counsel. So he has a public defender, Diane Howard. But they said it could be 10 years before this is even ready for trial because there's so many cases. And it's probably going to cost the state at least $20 million to prosecute him and defend him because he's a public defender. They have him on 13 murder charges and 13 rape charges. And that's just those 13 murders, 13 rapes, just a fraction of the alleged 50 rapes that they believe are committed by him. Okay? So he's due back in court on April 10th. My parents' anniversary. April 10th, and we'll see what happens then. But it's going to take a huge amount of time for a trial. Let's look at this. The DNA evidence that the authorities used to arrest Joseph James D'Angelo in the East Area Rapist case, Golden State Killer, some still killing him, the East Area Rapist, came from swabbing his car door in a public parking lot and later retrieving a used tissue from his trash can, newly released court documents show. So a statement of probable cause, I'll just read this one part to you. It says, between April 1974 and May 1986, an unidentified white male, hereafter referred to as East Area Rapist, committed no less than 57 attacks that included sexual assaults and an additional 13 homicides throughout California. He was responsible for hundreds of sexually motivated burglaries, prowling events, and hang-ups or lewd phone calls. I don't even do that anymore, right? The suspect in this series has now been identified by DNA as Joseph James D'Angelo, born November 8, 1945, a Sacramento County resident. His connection to this crime has been established through his geographical ties to the locations where the attacks occurred, numerous circumstantial links, and his MO. The geographic connections will be explored in detail, but they include his presence in Tulare County, California, as an Exeter police officer during the MO-linked Visalia ransacker series, Visalia is 20 minutes away from his residence at the time. Additionally, it appeared that Kings County Public Safety Academy was held on the campus of the College of the Sequoias. This campus is the epicenter of the Visalia ransacker crimes, and it was a professor at this college that was murdered in September 1975 following an attempted abduction of the professor's daughter in the middle of the night. By 1976, D'Angelo was transferred to the Auburn Police Department, was employed there during the vast majority of the East Area Rapist portion of the series. A lot of this is blacked out here. The sexual assaults occurred in Contra Costa County. A forensic unknown profile was established in Contra Costa County assaults, and recently DNA samples were collected from Joseph D'Angelo. These samples match the previously unknown profile of the Contra Costa, what is like a tongue twister, county. A DNA sample collected in an investigation of the double homicide of Lyman and Charlene Smith in Ventura County matches the previous unknown profile. Okay, so they were matching it to this. Now, I want to know, there was circumstantial evidence, I guess, linking him. So it wasn't that he wasn't not under any suspicion. There was suspicion at some point linking him enough to collect the DNA samples and put him under surveillance.
That bombshell arrest, that former police officer who authorities say went on a reign of terror for so many years. The numbers, as I mentioned, are simply staggering. At least 12 murders, 45 rapes. They have been searching for more than 4 decades, and tonight the major clue that unlocked this just days ago. They say this is their man, Joseph D'Angelo, now 72, arrested outside his home. They surprised him. He spent years as a California police officer. He'd been married. ABC's Whit Johnson leads us off from California on the man dubbed the Golden State Killer.
Tonight, hiding in plain sight, police say one of the most elusive serial killers in American history has been captured outside his suburban home.
We found the needle in the haystack, and it was right here in Sacramento.
Law enforcement now identifying 72-year-old Joseph James D'Angelo as the Golden State Killer. The once married former police officer now under arrest for a violent crime spree that terrorized California for more than 40 years.
Possibly he was committing the crimes during the time he was employed as a peace officer, and obviously we'll be looking into whether it was actually on the job.
Detectives working the case for decades, but D'Angelo not a suspect until days ago when they got a break. They say cutting-edge DNA testing allowed them to make a match.
We were able to get some discarded DNA, and we were able to confirm what we thought we already knew, that we had our man.
At least 12 murders, 45 rapes, and more than 100 burglaries spread fear across the state in the 1970s and 80s. His voice allegedly heard in this chilling phone call, taunting one of his victims. Those crimes meticulously planned. The suspect, wearing a ski mask, would break into homes, gag, blindfold, and tie up his female prey before carrying out his brutal attacks. Today, police could be seen searching D'Angelo's home in this quiet Sacramento neighborhood. His neighbors stunned.
He was just an odd guy, kind of kept to himself, but had a temper.
For the victims' families, overwhelming relief.
It is time for all victims to grieve and to take measure one last time.
18-year-old Janelle Cruz, the last known victim, was murdered in 1986. Soon after, her sister Michelle fled California, fearing for her own safety.
The feeling is undescribable. I am so happy. I feel so blessed. We finally got the guy who brutally raped and murdered my sister.
Like I said, there is that documentary, and I believe it's the Headline News. You can look it up. I mean, online. You'll see where you're able to watch it, and that starts tomorrow. And I think it's one of those three night things. Okay, so we've got some new news on the Kelsey Berreth case. Patrick Frazee is due in court on Tuesday. He's expected to plead not guilty. They've also removed some of the charges. Remember, he had all of those solicitation for murder, and they had various charges in there. Well, now it looks like he's down to first-degree murder, and at the time then it was down to 1 solicitation to commit murder, and I think now he may just have the first-degree murder. However, they have no body, so if they don't have a body and I believe he's convicted even on the first-degree murder. It's not a mandatory life sentence in Colorado if there's no body. You know, they have something on Crystal to have her bring forward some evidence that produces the body or something. Otherwise, you know, you could be looking at another Casey Anthony, maybe. And maybe, yeah, it's scary. So he's going to maintain his innocence, which is another thing. He is very different, as I told you, than Chris Watts. Chris Watts folded immediately. This one here is not going to be like that at all. Okay? But in the wrongful death suit, those documents have been opened up, and there's a lot of information in there. So I was right what I told you guys, what my thoughts were. It was the custody. That's what they believe is the motive for this. And on, let's see, on December, I think it was, yes. So these documents allege that Frazee murdered Kelsey because she refused to give him full custody of the 1-year-old daughter, Caylee. And I'll tell you exactly how that happened here. Now, Kelsey's parents are Cheryl Lee, that's her middle name, believe it or not, and Daryl Berreth. Okay, Patrick wanted full custody of Caylee. All these K names are going to be here. Of Caylee, or Kelsey to leave Caylee with him. And Kelsey wouldn't agree. And Patrick told Cheryl a series of lies when he knew Kelsey was dead because he killed her or caused her to be killed on November 22nd. This is all in the document. On December 2nd, Cheryl called Patrick and asked him if everything was okay. And Frazee allegedly told her that he and Kelsey broke up on Thanksgiving Day. And they agreed to split custody of Caylee. He allegedly said that on that same day, Kelsey left Frazee with Caylee while she figured out what she was going to do. So he tells her this lie that, yeah, we broke up on Thanksgiving Day, and then she left the baby with me because she was going off to, you know, figure out what she was going to do, and that's what happened. Frazee also said that he met Kelsey at a Cracker Barrel restaurant in Colorado Springs, and now the Cracker Barrel that the spokesperson for the Cracker Barrel said they are, you know, they're fully cooperating in the investigation. I guess they're looking over surveillance to see if that I'm sure they already have, to see if they have any footage of this. And if they don't, it's just another lie that he's telling. But if they do, you know, it could be very telling. Kelsey asked for her belongings. So Frazee gives her her gun and her keys. They don't mention keys to what? Keys to the condo or the townhouse that she lived in, keys to her car, or keys to what? And the gun, now you might think about the gun, supposedly she was getting death threats, and that's the reason she has the gun, and I believe Patrick is the one that encouraged her to buy the gun. Frazee told Cheryl that he and Kelsey had plans for November 25th. So he said, yeah, we have plans for November 25th. I'm sure there's something he threw in there just to make it, you know, like, where is she? And maybe that was the text that was sent from him, which must have been sent by whoever disposed of the phone, Crystal. Sent it maybe about the plans on the 25th. Maybe it said something like, I need a few more days to think about things. I'll see you on the 25th. We'll meet at such and such shopping center or whatever. Okay, so now. All right, so when he later sent a text and he didn't get a response, so that might have been in return to the text that was sent, that they said was from her, but it wasn't, obviously. He figured that she put her phone on Do Not Disturb so she could study. Okay, so she could study. And this is something he said that she usually did. It's not out of the ordinary. She did it when she was studying, and she did it when Kelsey was napping. He tells Cheryl, our relationship started off good, but then it soured, and I had enough. Okay, so Patrick says he has enough, and he doesn't want to deal with things anymore. Because Kelsey was always criticizing him and putting him down in front of the baby. Sounds like Cindy and the mom might be friends, and maybe he's taking some things from that case. That's a little crazy. Okay. So one possible reason for why she disappeared, he said that, sometimes she goes out with friends or coworkers because she didn't always return right home after work. Yeah, Patrick, this is how many days? November 22nd to December 2nd. That's good. That's good. I think she's just out maybe for dinner. So he says that she would go out for dinner with friends. So after that call with Frazee, Cheryl immediately calls the Woodland Park Police Department. And she asked them to do a welfare check on her daughter. And they went to her, whatever that is, the townhouse, and there were the cars in the driveway. They say cars, so I don't know if she had more than one car. And the door was locked and no one answered. Now, on December 3rd, the next day, Frazee calls Cheryl Lee, and tells her that he has not been able to access Kelsey's phone records online because that she set up the online account and he doesn't know the access security questions like, where did you meet your spouse? That's what he says, okay? So he can't figure that out, so he can't get the phone records. He's truly sorry about that. He can't do it. And then he says, you know what? She could have just opened a new account and got a new number. Because, he's making it sound like she's just on the run and doesn't care at all about... He's just making it sound like she's on the run, doesn't care at all about contacting her family, or seeing her daughter or anything. That thing about Kelsey getting the new phone. But he also says that to the mother, you know what? You really don't have to worry. Woodland Park is a really safe place. And you really don't need any worries about foul play. It doesn't happen around here. Frazee encouraged false reports, this is also noted in the suit, about Kelsey, including that he and Kelsey were not engaged, that Kelsey was not Caylee's primary caregiver, that Kelsey had gone to rehab, that Kelsey had run off before, and that she had abandoned the baby before in Frazee's care. He said that she had issues, allegedly said she had issues that would warrant Frazee getting full custody. These are all lies that he encouraged to make himself look better, okay? And the complaint ventures a guess as to how Frazee allegedly murdered their daughter. Their daughter. He had her keys and he had her gun, so she was in a very vulnerable state, especially if she was attacked. Questions I have: why did he have her keys? What were the keys for? Why did he have her gun? Okay, now the judge on Tuesday is going to hear a motion to unseal the court records. And of course the defense doesn't want them unsealed. They're also not going to allow any cameras in the courtroom, according to this. So courts denied extended media coverage. Extended media coverage not available at the preliminary hearing February 19th. Amended Patrick's charges to first-degree murder and solicitation to commit murder. Okay, and then I have a question. Okay, that's what I have so far, but that is evolving. And by the time Tuesday, if they unseal these court records, we're going to know a lot more about what they have and what they don't have. But like I said, now there are some people getting really crazy that without the body and with him maintaining the non-guilty, unless Crystal has something really big that he could essentially walk, or he could get a very 10-15 years maybe. So let's see what happens there. And there's a movie, some of you might know this, they used to play it all the time. Like it was originally on like mainstream 2/7, when they used to have the movies of the week back in probably the late 80s, and then they would play it on Lifetime and stuff like that. I thought it was called Cruel Intentions, Deadly Intentions. It's something like that. I think they might have even changed the name at one time, but it was about this doctor, and it was a true story. And he married this woman, and I don't know why I'm thinking there's a either he came from a different country or like Spain or something, or she did. And then he started to get really weird, and they had a baby, and he would say things like, if you don't do this, I know how to stick pins in your neck, and I know how far to stick them because I'm a doctor, and I know, what won't kill you. One time he had to go swimming in a lake with an alligator, and then he screamed the alligator was behind her, and he was taking pictures. If you've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. He was taking pictures on the shore as she's like frantically swimming in because he wanted to capture the face of fear. And she would say, oh, how could you do that? You weren't even worried about me. And he did all kinds of really freaky things, and then they had a baby, and at one time he was getting jealous of the baby, so he put something in the baby's milk, and he was like, feed him that, and she got up as soon as he left and threw it away, or found out what the pills were, brought him to the pharmacy. I can't remember because it's been a while. And they used to air it up until probably 2000, 2002. I cannot find the name of that movie. If anybody knows what it is, I believe he also had a car once, and he tried to teach her about inertia, and so he almost killed her in the car. I don't know if it was a Beetle or like a Volkswagen Bug, something like that. If you've seen that movie and you know what it is, or you know the real case, could you please tell me what that is? Because I need to know what that is. Another case I'm following up is that doctor in Syracuse who allegedly killed his wife and made it look like a fall in the shower. There's a horrific 911 call from the daughter, and he is out on, I think it was a mistrial, I believe it is. And so that case is one. And then we have the Valerie Reyes case. I'm just going to tell you what so far. She was the woman that was found 24 years old in the suitcase on the side of the road in Greenwich, Connecticut by a highway worker, and one of the highway workers took a photo of her inside the suitcase and apparently sent it to someone that owned a business in Connecticut, who then showed a newspaper the photo, and now he's been put on paid administrative leave pending an investigation. But they did apprehend, as I told you the other day, her ex-boyfriend, who is Javier De Silva. Some say De Silva, some say De Silva. A lot of articles are getting this wrong, but in Flushing, Queens, he was here illegally because he was here on a visa that expired on August 5th, 2017. He was arrested when he attempted to use her credit card, and he told investigators, he's a citizen of Portugal, but he told investigators that she fell to the floor and hit her head. And I'm sure he's going to say he panicked, right? And I panicked, and I bound up her hands, and I bound up her feet, and I stuffed her in a suitcase, and I put her on the side of the road. But that, it was an accidental death. She fell and hit her head. On January 29th, he said that he and Reyes had sex at her home before putting her in the suitcase, before she fell and before all this happened. They're both 24. Victoria is a New Rochelle resident, and she was found February 5th by that highway crew. She also provided a very strong tip for finding him. She was known for her artistic talents, and there was a sketch in her apartment of Javier that helped them identify him, because it matched exactly his Facebook profile picture. The body showed obvious signs of trauma, according to the complaint. Reyes graduated New Rochelle High School in 2012, and she worked at the Barnes & Noble in Vernon Hills Shopping Center in Eastchester. Now, her mother, who is Norma Sanchez, said the daughter feared someone was going to murder her the night before she went missing. The mother and everyone asked her why. Was someone in the house? Was something going on? And she said no. So she never gave them a real reason, but they just knew that she had broken up with her boyfriend on January 24th.
A funeral is being held today in New Rochelle for the woman whose body was found stuffed in a suitcase on the side of a road in Greenwich, Connecticut. Family and friends gathered at St. Gabriel's Church to say goodbye to 24-year-old Valerie Reyes. Her ex-boyfriend is under arrest and charged with her murder. Sources say Javier da Silva of Flushing, Queens, told police he killed Reyes at her home a week ago. They briefly dated last year until Reyes broke up with him.
Okay, that's what I think we're going to cover today. I'm going to see if you've left me any new questions for question and answers here, but I don't know if you have. Let me see. What's wrong with the internet?
We're ready for dinner.
I don't know yet.
Should we bake?
All right, wait. Okay. You guys have to get with the questions here because I don't see any new questions there. I know you're putting them in lots of different places. Just try to put them on the threads in the community chat. Now I know there's another, let me just check the other space just to see, because I really don't have a lot of questions here, and you've got to try to get them in the same place, otherwise I'm going to be in trouble. So all right, let's see what this one says. Moody Sky says, I Googled man I'm having an affair with says he will leave his wife, just for fun, to see what would come of it, and advice NK was looking for. One was WikiHow article titled 11 Ways to Get a Man to Leave His Wife. I thought NK read this and used it on Chris. What are your thoughts? Oh, she gives me, hold on, let me just see what it says. We'll see what it says. Let me go to the website. That's why it held it for comment. So it says, how to get a man to leave his wife. Are you in love with an unhappily married man? You know you are perfect for each other, except that he still has a wife, which is why it's highly unlikely that he will leave her. Here are some steps you can take to help make him make the right decision. Remember, you cannot make someone leave. They have to do it voluntarily on their own. People change, get married for the wrong reasons, and even though it's wrong to break a commitment, the reality is that it happens every day, and sometimes it may be better for all people involved, you know? Loss of a relationship is sometimes a gift in disguise. Okay, and there is a photo of what looks like someone throwing a condom in the garbage. So it says, do not have sex with him, just leave the wrapping where the wife can see it. A married man who cheats on his wife is doing it for physical reasons only. Realize that at the moment he does not want to leave his wife, and that is why he's having an affair. If he really wanted to leave her, he would have done so before having sex. If you already had sex with him, stop and tell him that you cannot be with a man who is dishonest. And then there's tape over the mouth on the second graphic. It says, don't try to convince him or manipulate him to leave. Don't try, just succeed. Convincing or manipulative behavior never works in the long run. He has to figure it out for himself. Even if he does act on your advice or pressure, he may resent you later. I wonder if Chris is sitting in jail resenting her. Treat yourself as a prize by not falling into bed with him. You are showing him that you are a woman who deserves respect and is marriage material. You have your own life and interests. Well, she was trying to show him she had her own life and interests. Well, at least she told investigators she was, but we haven't seen any part of that, because when her friend Charlotte asked her to go somewhere, she blew Charlotte off, even though she told investigators when her friends call her, she runs instead of being with him. She was definitely not withholding sex from him. And hopefully you have interests in common, which are things his wife doesn't enjoy. Well, maybe all that sand dune surfing or whatever the heck they were boarding. that makes him more attractive to him. Okay, figure out the benefits he is getting from staying in the marriage. Even if he's unhappy, he's still getting something positive from not breaking up. This could be access to his children, money. He's scared of losing his home, his income, his property. Emotional support, his reputation. It makes him feel good to be a family man, blah, 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 blah. 5 says figure out what his wife isn't doing right. Okay. Sounds like something she was doing. Men need to feel masculine. Most likely the wife has emasculated him over time, so she really played on this one, and therefore he's no longer attracted to her. Okay. Let's go to number 6. This means getting to know him as a person. Okay. 7, date others. Well, she was definitely playing that card, at least trying to make him think she was. Don't be needy. Don't initiate contact calls, texts, or emails. Let him come to you on his own. He needs to do so in his own time. 9 is don't be jealous of his wife or angry. I don't think she was doing that too well. 10, don't become his therapist or his marriage counselor. Trying to help him get over or solve his problems, so she was definitely trying to do that. Trying to fix things is a masculine trait. He has to do it. 11, never confront the wife. And that's it. So, I mean, I'm trying to see if there's any comments here. Can you imagine if there's a comment by her? I don't see any comments to this. Just, did this article help you? You think there would be a lot of comments. And then there's a video here. Maybe she watched this video. It's some guy, and it says, making a married man leave his wife. If you're truly soulmates, you shouldn't have to do anything. Sometimes you might have to read the signs. Sometimes you might have read the signs wrong, and he might actually be happy with his wife, in which case trying to make him leave is a disgraceful thing to do. Okay. So, yes, that is from, who is that from? Moody Sky. So, I mean, some of the things we went over are similar, but I don't know if she actually used that article. If she looked at it, we could only surmise. Okay. And then we have one from Leon Guillaume. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I believe NK was a suspect and the plea deal was reached. In the D, in the discovery, I think she means, in the D, it say that S, Shanann, was seen entering the house by video camera with no activity till later. I think a lot has been held back to the public and we may never know, but NK was a driving force in this spineless monster's life. Yeah, we know she was driving force, and you know, she's definitely, she even admits it in one of her interviews, says that she believes her involvement speeded things up for him, but she didn't think, you know, that she was the catalyst. But yeah, she had said she heard plenty of people saying she was the catalyst. Okay, so we have, who is this? And then Leona also says, this is my favorite channel. Thank you so much for a decent, clean, factual channel. So much trash out there. Society has become so sick. Thank you for your standard, Carolyn. Thank you, Leon. Thank you for your support, and thanks for watching. Okay, then we have, let's see who we have here. Okay, let me just go over the book club too. We are going to wait for the paperback, so you can order your paperback. There is a link where in the community, I also put a link in response to anyone's question that said, I want to join the book club, or how. There's a link. If you want to order the book in Amazon, you can go ahead and do that, or if you want to get it somewhere else, wherever. And then somebody had asked about, you know, what, I mean, we'll come to, I don't have the book in my hand yet, so I'm not sure how long the chapters are. But of course, I'm not going to be like, here, read the first 10 chapters if they're, you know, and have this, let's do this tomorrow. No, I'm not going to do anything like that. I have a, you know, a life too. So we'll pick something that's attainable for everyone, and then have a forum somehow to discuss this. And I think if I do a recorded video of what went over, like say in chapters 1 and 2, and then I'm in the live chat and we can discuss it from there, or do that and then have another chat, maybe, because I've been looking into that Zoom and stuff, and I'm going to figure that out so we could have call-ins and we'll get to that. We'll get it all figured out. Okay, and I don't see anything new here. I'm just going to go to the other one and see what's held in review, see if there's any new questions there. It's Mama Bear again. Hi, Carolyn. Here's the link for the phone records of NK. Okay, let's see. Let's see what they are, Mama Bear. See, anytime you guys send a link, it'll automatically hold it for review. But let me see if these are the... I don't think these are the ones because I don't see any. I only have this could never be her full records. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 calls on this from August 12th to the 13th. And the Fayetteville, North Carolina, that's Chris's number, that one there. But I believe there's another North Carolina number. But I only see, Mama Bear, I only see one shot of this. So I'm not sure if you can even see that. That's all I see, just that little thing. There's not even another page or anything from that link. Are there other pages that I'm missing somehow? I don't know. Let me know because we need more than that. But apparently if they have that, it's somewhere. Where did that go? Was that in the second discovery and now that's gone? Does anybody have a link for that second discovery? I put something out there on Reddit asking for it because the one that was out there, the guy who put it out there removed it. And I even went to his Facebook page because it says it was removed by so-and-so. So I sent him a message that said, hey, do you have any of that second discovery? But he didn't get back to me because Facebook always does that. It hides the messages if you're not friends with them. If anybody has that link for the second discovery, send it to me by email with the subject line all in caps, link to second discovery, because if you just put it in a comment, it gets lost. And I've been really bad about checking emails and stuff, I know. So if you sent me something, I'm going to get to it. It's hectic. And my daughter's home this weekend and now she wants to do some baking. So I don't know. But I'm going to let you guys go here so I can get this up. Send me some more questions. Please put them in the community thread. I'm going to get YouTube to put the link to questions in every video description. Always go to the video description because I'm trying to put whatever necessary links you need there. Okay. And what else was I going to say? And then I think tomorrow or whenever I do the next video, it's going to be about Scott and Lacey Peterson. It's going to be a background, and then there's going to be a contrast of so many people in there. Scott with Chris, Amber with NK, the Wattses with the Petersons. There's so much to look into there. And of course, Tuesday is going to be huge for the Berreth case. So we don't know what's going to happen there. I really think it's going to be a crazy case. And he is not going to be one that backs down. And even when you look at Peterson, Scott Peterson, he kept maintaining his innocence. Like I said, I don't know anybody that could probably beat Chris Watts in being under suspicion, confession, off to jail, plea deal. I think does anybody know a case of that magnitude that happened that quickly? I don't think so. He was probably like a dream for them. I mean, and he really thought they were his friends. And when you watch that arrest video, you see, he's really, because remember how Coder was saying, oh, and I'm going to be your go-to guy, and we're going to talk, and you do this confession, we're going to talk, buddy. And then they probably just left him like a hot potato and looked at him like, monster, right? And when they were taking him out of that room, you could tell, the only thought he really had, because he was staring at whatever picture he was staring at, and whether that was Cece or Bella, there was no tears or anything, remorse. But when they made him walk there, you could see the apprehension, oh, what are they going to think of me? Is Coder going to be there? Is Tammy going to be there? Because I was laughing with Tammy, a little while ago and telling her all this stuff about me, and now they're taking me out like this, and this walk of shame, and I really think that was the big thing. It was just like he did with the coworkers. Oh, don't tell the coworkers, they're going to say, what did Chris do? What did you do, Chris? How could you do this, right? So he understood that, but it was all about him, that he felt that. And he didn't even get any tears up for that or anything. And, you know, got in the car. And when you see him later, like I said, if you want me to try to post the other part of that where they bring him from in the car there, you know, let me know if you haven't seen that. I can try to link that up and get that up for you guys if you want me to show you that. And I am working on other translations, transcripts for other things, especially Ronnie's mumbling. But that's what I have right now. And is there anything else I wanted to tell you? I don't know. Can't think of it. And everybody, I know a bunch of, no, I shouldn't say a bunch, a few of our community members going through some hard times are trying to make some changes with their life for their health. And so we wish you the best on that. We're thinking of you, thoughts and prayers, everybody. And hope that you're all doing better. What else do I have? I think that's it. I have to make an ice cream cake for my son now. So I was going to do that while I did this, but I can't. I gotta like look at it. It's like, oh, you're going to get an ice cream cake, and I'm going to do the true crime. But I think we'll just do this. Maybe sometime this weekend I'll come do a fun live if I have a chance. But you hear them; they're screaming like lunatics over there, and that's like through 2 doors. So just so you know, with this stupid Fortnite talking to people and getting like, you think somebody really killed somebody the way they yell and scream about this game. Anyway, I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one and stay safe. Goodbye.